If a little green is good, more is even better. Now, back to Green is Good with John Shigarian and Mike Brady.
Welcome back to Green is Good, and we're so excited to have Albert Strauss on the phone with us today. Albert is the president of Straus Family Creamery and an outspoken advocate for sustainable production, responsible land use, and environmental stewardship. Albert Strauss, welcome to Green is Good.
Thank you.
Hey, Albert, in a line of many great family legacy businesses, such as Jessica Lumberg, Peter Mondavi, you have come into the Straus Family Creamery that was started somewhere in the 40s and have done remarkable and amazing things. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of your family creamery before we get going here on what you've done with it?
Sure. My father actually started the dairy farm in 1941, and he started with just 23 cows and about 160 acres, and we were producing milk that was being sold off as milk for other manufacturing. I came back from college in 1977 and became partners with him on the farm, and someone approached me in 1990 about doing organic milk for ice cream.
Wow.
And so I had a real weakness for ice cream. I had done my senior thesis at Cal Poly to build a processing plant. And so when this person approached me, I kept looking into it. It took me about 3.5 years to figure out what organic was, how to get finance to build a creamery. But we became the first certified organic dairy and creamery west of the Mississippi River in the beginning of 1994.
Wow. That is that's just wonderful. So how did it go? How's it, talk a little bit about the challenges and the opportunities of being organic and the whole creamery concept.
Well, it was a new law in California. Organic was a new law in California in 1990. So no one really knew what organic meant. It's just so it's the land has to be free of herbicides, pesticides, and synthetic fertilizers for at least 3 years. And then for dairy, the cows have to be on all organic feeds, no antibiotics or hormones for a year prior to them being certified. So that was a challenge, figuring out how to find the feeds. We grow about 50% of our feeds, but we have to buy the rest of them.
Right.
So where do I find those? There was no one really growing them yet. So it was pretty hard to find. How do I treat cows without antibiotics or hormones? And I had heard about homeopathy, and there was only 2 veterinarians in the country using homeopathy on cows, one in Pennsylvania and one in Wisconsin. And so getting that information and figuring out how to make that work in our situation. And then how to find financing to build a creamery and do a whole business plan and, make this all happen.
Right.
And it took a long time and a lot of effort, but it paid off. I had a philosophy of reuse. We wanted to have reusable glass bottles as our main product line, and so we have a pasteurized, which means we heat treat it, but we don't homogenize, which is actually where you run it through a machine to break up the fat so it doesn't float to the top. So we don't homogenize, but we pasteurize. And so we have a cream top milk in the glass bottles.
Wow.
The glass bottles are made from 40 to 50% recycled glass.
Oh, great.
We get 6 to 8 uses out of a bottle.
Wonderful.
Get over 80% return rate.
Huh.
And so it's part of our philosophy of going beyond what organic is into a sustainable system that is reuse and recycling.
Gotcha.
Now, Albert, you mentioned that you really faced a variety of challenges in making the transition to becoming an organic dairy and an organic creamery, everything from not using antibiotics on your herd to so many other things. But you said you became an organic creamery back in 1977, correct?
No, excuse me, 1994.
1994. Okay, very good. Okay,
Got it.
I want to see how far back. So basically, you've been at this for quite a while. How long did it take you to make that transition? Because as you were enumerating the list of challenges, all the things that you had to do, there was no infrastructure in place. There were 2 organic vets in the entire country. It's like, man, can you think of any more challenges?
Yeah, it was challenging. It took us from 1990, when the person approached me, to beginning 1994 to actually start the creamery and get our first products out. So it was, 3.5 to 4 years process just to do all the research and figuring out what it would take to make a product and make it organic.
Albert, what is the Straus Family Creamery products now? For our listeners out there, they could go to your great website, strausfamilycreamery.com, but share with our listeners, what are the products that exist?
We started with the glass bottle cream top milk, and then we have butter. It's a high fat, low moisture butter. It's some of the highest fat and lowest moisture butters in the world. The San Francisco Chronicle did a comparison. It's been close to 8-10 years ago.
Right.
And ours came up the highest fat and the lowest moisture, which meant it wouldn't burn as easily when you saute, and it makes a really good crust in pies. So, in some of the high-end restaurants use our products like Chez Panisse. They came to me in the very beginning to get a butter, high quality butter that like they have in France, and so I didn't know if I had succeeded, but they said it was good. So, and then we have a yogurt that's a European style yogurt, because instead of incubating it in the plastic cup, we incubate in a stainless steel vat and then cool it before it goes into a cup. So it's more of a pourable type yogurt. But our philosophy on all our products is to minimally process our products, not have any additives or stabilizers to it. So
right.
Our yogurt is just milk and cultures.
Right.
And then we have ice creams, which is my weakness. It took me the longest to get out, but we have a whole variety of actually, now we have 7 flavors of ice cream that are all made without stabilizers other than egg yolk. So it's they're super premium ice creams.
And where are these sold? Are these sold in California and beyond, or how many states, and what kind of distribution for our listeners out there that want to taste and enjoy your wonderful products?
We're mainly in western United States.
Okay.
Our glass milk is mostly on the West Coast, between Oregon, Washington, California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico. There's a little bit further east, but that's where the majority of that is. And then our butter, yogurt, and ice cream go mostly as far east as Colorado and Texas.
Got it.
Well, Albert, I went onto your website, which is really an awful lot of fun. And if you're following along and listening to the show at home and you've got your iPad or your laptop, you want to check this out. It's Straus Family, Straus familycreamery.com. And just before John had asked you the question of where your products are available, I went on. There's a nice little search area for the stores, and I typed in our zip code for the studio here. And, John, we are less than 2 miles away from Dairy Heaven here. I mean, there's a store where you shop. We won't give them a plug right now, but you know where I'm talking about, John. Right up the street here.
Well, Mike, I'm just going to read this description here just for our listeners who want to get hungry and want to taste Albert's great products. One of their new ice cream flavors that came out this fall is organic brown sugar banana. It's made with organic banana puree, organic dark brown sugar, and chocolate chips, combining the sweet flavor of ripe bananas with real chocolate to create a silky, smooth, rich dessert. I think I just gained weight. I got to try this right now.
Actually, I have some right in front of me.
Oh my gosh!
Are you working on another thesis there, Albert?
Yes.
Well, anyway, this is just great, and it's wonderful what you're doing. And I want to go on to some other topics that are important, and also I want our listeners to understand some real great things that you're doing and how you've taken your what your father has started back in 41 and just taken it into the future with all of the great vision that you've had. So, the Straus Family Creamery is an active member of the GMO Project. What does GMO Project really mean, and why did the Straus Family Creamery become involved with it?
It's actually the Non-GMO Project.
Oh, okay.
What it
Thank
is,
you.
genetically modified organisms
Thank you.
are being used in a lot of food crops, like corn and soybeans and alfalfa, sugar beets. So by federal law, GMOs are not allowed in organic foods. It's not the same as normal crossbreeding of plants. It's where they actually take cross species. They take different species and cross them to get different traits. Most of it is so they can spray herbicides on the crops without damaging the crops.
Got it.
So it's not allowed. We started testing our corn and soybeans and alfalfa that we were purchasing and found that the corn had contamination of GMOs. So that was not acceptable to me. And so what I decided to do was to start first our own verification program where we were able to test it and get a feed mill that supplies the feeds to work with us to keep it out of our system. We also verified that all of our ingredients, from the chocolate chips to everything that we bring into our products, are non-GMO. And so the Non-GMO Project is actually an organization of, I know Whole Foods is a member, and then there's United Natural Foods is a big national distributor of natural foods, and a lot of small and independent health food stores across North America are members of this.
Got it.
And we wanted to be part of this program. They were delayed a little while, so I started my own verification. And then as soon as they got up and running, we became the first dairy that's been verified non-GMO in North America.
That's huge.
And that happened in February of this year.
Good for you. That's huge. Albert, to us here at Green is Good, we talk about sustainability a lot. We talk about people, planet, and profits. Underneath I love your logo, by the way, Straus Family Creamery, it says organic, local, and sustainable. What does sustainability mean to you as the president of Straus, as Straus Family Creamery?
We look at everything that we do in how we can improve it, how can we make it more sustainable in the sense of making the land and soil better, mainly treating our animals, treating our employees well, and being an important part of our community. So, our glass bottles is one instance of this. How can we, reuse? And I think that's a prime example. And then we also started, since the 80s, I wanted to put a methane digester in, which is where we capture all the waste from the cows as well as the creamery waste, and the bacteria digest that and give off methane gas. It's a pollutant that's 23 times much detrimental than carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas.
Wow.
But we capture that and use it as a fuel to make electricity, and then we capture the heat off the engine to make hot water that we use for washing equipment at the dairy. So, and then on top of that, beyond that, is that I drive a fully electric car that's powered by the cows. We have a electric all-terrain vehicle and a little golf cart we feed the calves with. And then I've been designing a full-scale truck that will be to feed the cows. That will be powered by the cows. So it's closing the loop on our energy use.
For those
and
of
so we supply almost all the energy for our own farm.
So for those of you just joining us, we're honored to have Albert Strauss on the line with us. He's the president of Straus Family Creamery. You can see his great website is strausfamilycreamery.com. So, safe to say, at Straus Family Creamery, sustainability is really a DNA issue. You guys talk a great talk, but you also walk a great walk.
That's our intent.
So talk about, Mike and I, when we were going through a lot of your literature and great things you're doing, we read about your methane digester. What is that?
Well, that's what I was just explaining. And that's, where we're capturing all the waste and creating energy from it.
Right.
So that's been a very, very good example of, how we can close the loop. The other thing that we've been working on, the feed that we buy comes from all over the country and sometimes out of the country. And so how can I bring that? Ideally, we'd be producing it all ourselves. If we can't, how close to home can we produce it? So I've been contracting with local farmers within a 100-mile radius to produce more of our own feeds. And so that's part of that sustainability as well.
In this challenging economy that we've all lived through and we're still going through, Albert, being a sustainable and organic business, how does that shake out, in terms of your marketing and sales? Have you grown during the last 2 or 3 years? Has your company grown in terms of gross sales, or, and are more and more consumers appreciating the quality of your product and rewarding you with more sales? How does that look like from an economic standpoint for your company?
We've grown. We grew last year when most of our competition was declining in sales. We continue to grow. And so I think our consumers are very dedicated to not only the quality of our products, but also the health benefits, the message of sustainable agriculture and sustainable food systems. So I think we've grown in spite of the economy and in spite of the challenges that we have now.
Gotcha. And now you're the president, and you were the guy who took this company into the future by starting the creamery. What's next? Do you go across America? Do you go international? What's on your horizon, and what other challenges and mountains are you looking to climb with the creamery?
Well, we're looking at making our creamery more efficient. We're in an old commercial kitchen that wasn't really meant as a dairy processing facility. So we're looking at in the next 4 to 5 years to move the facility and be in a lot more sustainable green building that could also give us efficiencies. Our model for where we grow is more regional than it is national. We feel that if we can make a model that is a regional model, that other people could replicate that across the country and get back to where dairies used to be, is where they were more regional and less national, because milk is a perishable product. It's not meant to be, it's meant to go bad. It's meant to, stay more local. It's a healthy product that if you can do it within your local communities, it's a lot more sustainable in my mind.
Well, it's interesting, too, Albert, that isn't it true that you're up in Marin County, and at one time, weren't there about 150 local family dairies, like as late as the 60s? How many remain now in your area?
There are about 24 of them left in Marin County. The good news is that a quarter of them are now certified organic, and the state of California the California Department of Food and Agriculture has stated that the hope for farms along the north coast of California is to go organic. And so I think that we've created a system that's sustainable. I'm really hopeful that we can build and sustain family farms in our community and in our nation.
Gotcha. That's incredible. And as the president of the company, how many hats do you wear? What's your day-to-day role besides being chief visionary officer? Are you also the chief sustainability officer? And what does your role look like, Albert, now that you've managed and taken a great legacy brand into the future? What do you do on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I still live on the dairy and wake up and check in with the people and the cows. And then I work in the office more than I used to. I'm not quite as hands-on, but I still get very involved in the new products, in the sustainability, in the messaging that we put out. So it all comes back to who I am and what I believe in. So everybody who works here, is dedicated to making my vision move forward.
And you're doing all of that and still finding time to design and perfect a truck, an electric truck that runs on the methane from the Methane Digester. That's just amazing.
Well, I love challenges, and so that's a challenge that I, kind of relish.
My guess would also be that you're dreaming up new ice cream flavors also. So what's the next? What's gonna give us a little tease on what's to come on ice cream flavors? What are you dreaming up?
We just came out with these two new flavors.
Yeah.
The caramel toffee crunch and the brown sugar banana chocolate chips.
Yeah.
So we're just in the planning stages for what we're going to work on next year. So I don't have. We're looking at other products like sour cream and maybe cottage cheese and different types of extensions that way. So it's all in process, but we plan to have new products every year.
Well, I'm gonna put you on the spot now. What is your favorite product?
Ice cream's, of course, my favorite.
But which brand? Like what flavor? What flavor?
I like things with chocolate in it.
Oh, okay.
And so that's a personal favorite. And I have to have some ice cream every day.
That's great for our listeners. You know what? America, have ice cream every day and make it Straus Family Creamery ice cream. Hey, so, Albert, what is, as we've spoken, Mike and I have had the honor to speak with so many neat people across the planet, actually, that are doing small businesses, large businesses, or they happen to be the chief sustainability officers of wonderful brands. And we always come back to the same notion and the same concept that sustainability is a process. Where are you in your evolution and process? And you say you like to climb mountains and you face new challenges. Where are you in the process of sustainability at Straus Family Creamery?
Well, I think we're on the road. We have a long way to go. I think there's a lot of improvement we can make. I think there's a lot of measurement and analysis we can do to actually see where we are in our sustainability. So those are things that take time and money. But I'm looking at how can we change our packaging to get away from plastic, on any, like the yogurts and the different products. I think glass might be the way to go, but it takes a lot of innovation and trial and just research, and so I think we've come a long way, but we have a long way to go still.
Got it. And for other, a lot of college students listen to our show, and a lot of people who want to either recycle their career or replant themselves because the economy at 9.6 unemployment really isn't getting better quickly right now. What pearls of wisdom for those that are coming up behind you and the great work you've done would you like to share with our listeners to how to become the next Albert Strauss or the next person who is going to create a new widget in the green world?
Well, as far as agriculture, we've tried to sustain local family farms, and we see that more people are going into producing food and knowing where the food comes from, and really wanting to get back to the land and get back to agriculture and know what they're putting in their bodies. So I think that's an opportunity for a lot of people. Right after World War II, there was over 40% of the population lived on farms. Now there's less than 1%, or around 1%. So I think there's a big opportunity there. I know it's not easy. Farming's not easy, so it's a challenge. But I think there's a lot of innovation and a lot of motivation in our society, in our country, and I think that we can move towards a system, a sustainable food system, and that will give a lot of opportunities for people.
Well, that's wonderful. And Albert, unfortunately, we're at the end here today, and we're going to have you back on in the future to talk about some more of your new releases and some more of your new ice cream flavors. But Mike and I have been just so thrilled to have you on today. And for those listeners who want to learn more about Albert's great creamery, please go to StrausFamilyCreamery.com. You could learn about what he's doing and all the great initiatives he's been up to, but also about where to buy his great products in nearby to where you live. And Albert, your wisdom today was truly inspirational. And Mike and I just want you to know that you are living proof that green is good.
Thanks a lot.
This program will be available for downloading in a couple of days from our station's website, keyword podcast. Thanks for listening, and join us again next week at the same time for another edition of Green is Good.